Welcome to the T-Pac Arcade. Today's game is Strider for the Nintendo Entertainment System. In this 1989 search-action game from Capcom, Hiryu, the sword-wielding ninja guy, is out to thwart an evil plot from within his own special operative organization called the Striders. The story plays out as you progress, accented by post-level text that sounds like that primer narration you get at the end of an action TV show. You know, like, next time on Strider, Hiryu falls off the same platform 12 different times somewhere in Africa. See, each level is a different location on the world map at Strider headquarters, like Australia, Japan, and Egypt. And given the search-action nature of this game, you'll find yourself constantly going back and forth between those levels, collecting keys in one to open doors in another, acquiring power-ups in one to pass through hazards in another, that sort of thing. The most important power-ups are the magnet boots that let you walk on walls, aqua boots that let you walk on water, and the plasma arrow, which lets you charge a beam attack by holding up. The plasma arrows are fun, but only really necessary for a single boss fight at the end of the game, and most of the additional skills you acquire aren't necessary at all, like the fireballs and electric attacks. They're super unintuitive and borderline frustrating to actually use, but at least they're cool. Come to think of it, that reigns true for pretty much the whole game. Everything from navigating levels to exploiting boss patterns to simply jumping on platforms is an exercise in frustration, thanks to obtuse progression indication, unclear enemy weaknesses, and some of the worst platforming mechanics I've ever experienced. Seriously, I've never found myself so helplessly caught in trial and error loops over something as straightforward as leaping over a spike or just trying to stand on a floating plane. Not to mention the dreaded wall jump that's imperative to progressing in the game, but only seems to work like 5% of the time. And yet, Strider is so cool that it's almost forgivable. Granted, I may only be saying that because of how liberally I cheated my way through this game. Not only did I use save states to constantly avoid restarting levels, even though the game does generously offer passwords and unlimited continues, but I also had to reference an online guide by someone who goes by Chukar Kua. I have zero faith that I could have figured out where to go or even how to beat most of the bosses without the aid of our internet hero, Chukar. I mean, that one sword and shield boss who copies your movements would have stumped me forever if I wasn't tipped off to slide underneath him and attack from behind. And how was I supposed to know that you have to damage the Zane mind control machines by lancing them from directly below? Most of all, how in the world would I be expected to survive long enough in the battle against Strider Kain to realize he's only disabled by the plasma arrow, and inexplicably stops attacking while you charge it? Needless to say, this game is far beyond my strategic capacity. But like I mentioned earlier, there's something about it that's just too cool to ignore, and I'd mostly attribute that to its visual aesthetics. The multicultural level themes, the most over-the-top sword attack animations on the NES, the sick battle armor on the enemies, the demon-esque Zane mind control machines, and of course, the fact that Strider headquarters is some kind of lion-dragon robot space station. If you don't think that's the most awesome thing ever, you're objectively wrong, and I don't know what to tell you. The sound design isn't too bad either. The chiptunes fit the level theming, and even though the audio effects can be a bit high-pitched and grating, you can forgive them because they still have that iconic 8-bit Capcom style. The most novel aspect of this game is its ambitious approach to storytelling. Most narrative NES titles just use cutscenes to move the plot along, but Strider reveals story information in all sorts of ways, from data disk communications to side character encounters to playable scenes like the mid-game face-off against Strider Kain. That being said, I did have more than a fair bit of trouble following the storyline, particularly as far as that Kain guy goes. I mean, at one point he's a hostage, and then he's a double agent, and then he's dead, and then he's a good guy again, and then he's like the final boss? I don't know. But it doesn't really matter as long as I get to run around ninja slashing stuff with my big ol' Strider sword. I can't accurately judge how difficult this game is, considering how much I cheated to beat it. Even with unlimited continues and a constantly increasing health meter with each level up, it was way too hard for me in my lack of patience, ingenuity, and general skill. Thanks again, Chukar, wherever you are. I couldn't have cleared this one without ya. But just barely, mind you. Strider's controls are still so awful that I let out a few audible groans of defeat as I got trapped in a nest of spikes and missed a wall jump for the millionth time in a row. If I could change one thing here, I'd fix those miserably broken jump mechanics. Come on, Capcom, we know you can make a killer platformer when you want to, and Strider needs some help. Gripes aside, my favorite part of this game was the world it builds with the whole Strider organization thing. If being part of the Striderverse means ninja fighting against demon machines and sliding around futuristic tube portals, I can overlook a lot of gameplay flaws and learn to enjoy myself. Overall, I wouldn't say I quite enjoyed myself with Strider, but I came close, and I wouldn't shy away from recommending it to some more seasoned action platformer enthusiasts. Assuming they also subscribe to the idea that, well, the gameplay is awful, but Strider's cool, so let's play Strider.